Which is the largest continent in the world? Option C. Asia. Which is the smallest continent in the world? Option B. Australia. Which is the largest ocean in the world? Option D. Pacific. Which is the smallest ocean in the world? Option D. Arctic. Which is the longest river in the world? Option C. Nile. Which river carries the maximum water volume? Option D. Amazon. Which is the highest mountain peak in the world? Option A. Mount Everest. Mount Everest is located in which mountain range? Option D. Himalayas. Which is the largest hot desert in the world? Option B. Sahara. Which is the largest desert in the world? Option C. Antarctica. Which country has the largest area in the world? Option D. Russia. Which country has the highest population in the world? Option B. India. Which is the largest island in the world? ऑप्शन सी ग्रीनलैंड. सॉरी गाइस, यहाँ पे टाइपिंग में मिस्टेक हो गया है, लेकिन इसका करेक्ट आंसर है ऑप्शन सी ग्रीनलैंड. विच सी इज द सेल्टेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड? ऑप्शन ए डेड सी. विच कंट्री इज नोन एज द लैंड ऑफ राइजिंग सन? ऑप्शन बी जापान. Which continent is called the dark continent? Option C. Africa. Which continent has no permanent population? Option D. Antarctica. Which is the deepest ocean trench? Option B. Mariana Trench. Which is the largest lake by area? Option C. Caspian Sea, means Caspian Sea or Caspian's Lake. Which is the deepest lake in the world? Option D. Lake Baikal. Which country has the longest coastline? Option D. Canada. Which continent has the maximum number of countries? Option C. Africa. Which river is known as the sorrow of China? Option B. Yellow River. Which mountain range separate Europe and Asia? Option C. Ural. Which country is called the land of midnight sun? Option D. Norway. Which continent lies completely in southern hemisphere? Option A. Australia. Which is the longest mountain range in the world? Option C. Andes. Which sea separate Europe and Africa? Option B. Mediterranean Sea. Which country is called the sugar bowl of world? Option C, Cuba. Which country has no permanent rivers? Option D, all of these. Which is the hottest continent? Option B, Africa. Which is the coldest continent? Option C, Antarctica. Which ocean is the youngest ocean? Option C, Atlantic. Which is the largest peninsula in the world? Option C, Arabian. Which plateau is called the roof of the world? Option A, Tibetan Plateau. Which river flow through Egypt? Option D, Nile. Which continent is known as the land of kangaroo? Option B, Australia. Which country lies in both Europe and Asia? Option B, Turkey. Which strait separates Asia and North America? Option C, Bering. Which canal connects the Mediterranean Sea with Red Sea? Option C, Suez Canal. Which country has the maximum volcanoes? Option A, Indonesia. Which continent has the maximum deserts? Option B, Africa. Which is the largest delta in the world? Option D, Brahmaputra Delta. Which river flows through Paris? Option C, Seine. Which river flows through London? Option A, Thames. Which country is known as the land of white elephant? Option D, Thailand. Which country is the smallest in the world by area? Option C, Vatican City. Which is the largest coral reef in the world? Option C, Great Barrier Reef. Which continent has the maximum freshwater reserve? Option A, Antarctica. Which river is the longest in Asia? Option B, Yantej. Which country is called the land of fire and ice? Option B, Iceland. Which is the largest bay in the world? Option C, Bay of Bengal. Which ocean separates Africa and South America? Option D, Atlantic Ocean. Which river is the longest river in Europe? Option B, Volga. Which country has the most time zones? Option C, France. Which is the highest waterfall in the world? Option B, Angel Falls. Which desert is the coldest in the world? Option A, Gobi. Which country is known as the land of thousands hills? Option B, Rwanda. Which is the longest river in South America? Option C, Amazon. Which continent has the least population? Means low population. Option C, Antarctica. Which strait connect the Black Sea with Mediterranean Sea? Option B, Bosphorus Strait. Which country is known as the Hermit Kingdom? Option D, North Korea. Which river forms the border between Mexico and USA? Option C, Rio Grande. Which is the largest country in Africa by area? Option B, Algeria. Which is the largest country in South America by area? Option D, Brazil. Which country has the highest number of lakes? Option C, Canada. Which mountain range runs along the western coast of South America? Option A, Andes. Which is the slowest sea in the world? Option D, Baltic Sea. Which country is known as the land of Thunder Dragon? Option B, Bhutan. Which is the longest river in Africa? Option C, Nile. Which plateau is the largest in the world? Option C, Tibetan Plateau. Which is the driest desert in the world? Option C, Atacama. Which country is called the land of Golden Pagoda? Option B, Myanmar. Which is the deepest ocean in the world? Option D, Pacific Ocean. Which river flows through Baghad? Option B, Tigris. Which country is known as the playground of Europe? Option B, Switzerland. Which country has the largest Muslim population? Option C, Indonesia. Which sea is located between Arabia and Africa? Option B, Red Sea. Which river flows through Rome? Option C, Tiber. Which is the largest plain in the world? Option B, Indo-plain. Which continent has the maximum tropical rainforest? Option C, South America. Which country is known as the land of maple leaf? Option B, Canada. Which country is famous for forts? Option C, Norway. Which is the longest river in Australia? Option B, Murray. Which sea is called the Highway of Nations? Option A, Mediterranean Sea. Which country touches both Arctic Ocean and Pacific Ocean? Option C, Russia. Which is the largest glacier in the world? Option A, Lambert Glacier. Which country is known as the land of morning clam? Option C, South Korea. Which city is known as the Eternal City? Option C, Rome. Which continent has the largest grasslands? Option D, South America. Which country is called the land of wild miles? Option C, Netherlands. Which country is known as the Pearl of Africa? Option B, Uganda. Which desert is located in South America? Option C, Atacama. Which is the largest city in the world by population? Option D, Tokyo. Which country is known as the land of rising sun? Europe equivalent. Option B, Greece. Which ocean lies to the west of Australia? Option D, Indian. Which mountain which mountain is known as the Killer Mountain? Option A, Nanga Parvat. Which river flows through Benya? Option B, Danube. Which country is known as the land of lakes and volcanoes? Option D, New Zealand. This is your hundredth and last question. Which continent has the widest temperature range? यह क्वेश्चन का आंसर आप लोग खुद से देना। इसका ऑप्शन मैं बता देता हूँ। ऑप्शन ए एशिया, ऑप्शन बी यूरोप, ऑप्शन सी अफ्रीका, ऑप्शन डी एंटार्क्टिका। और एक प्यारा सा कमेंट कर देना और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर देना, जिससे हमें मोटिवेट फील होगा और आगे हम वीडियो इसी प्रकार बना सकेंगे। तो मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। बाय बाय।